All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Evening Crypto with your boy, the Real Shot 256. And today's video is going to be a little bit different than the usual, just because we want to definitely talk about what happened today in traditional markets with the Fed, Jerome Powell having the much expected rate cut from the Fed, and also seeing an adverse reaction in the traditional markets. So definitely is something that is worth mentioning and talking about. So I am going to dedicate a few minutes to that. We are going to go over the overall state of the market. We'll get into some TA as usual, and then we'll go back to this story and get get some thoughts on that. And I would love your feedback as to what you guys think about the news today, how it affected the markets, how it affected cryptocurrency markets, uh, and just your feelings overall. I want to remind you that if you're not following me on Twitter and Instagram, I do post there on a regular basis. You can always reach me, DM me on Twitter at TheRealShot256. Again, if you're not following, that's the Twitter handle. It's also in the description of this video down below. And if I miss anything, definitely let me know there. Let's discuss. All right, let's get into it. Currently, we are market cap at 274. Quite a good uptake from even yesterday and the day before. We were in the low 260s to high 250s, and then our 24-hour trading volume is up about 7 billion compared to yesterday. Bitcoin dominance is pretty much the same, 65%. It hasn't moved very much. And again, if you heard these other content creators or cryptocurrency quote unquote influencers saying that the altcoin summer is here because Bitcoin took a 2%, Bitcoin dominance took a 2% dip overall, then you can tell by the charts that that is simply just not a true statement. 3, 4, 5% has been the most, but then also a lot of coins still in the red. So again, you know me, you know this channel. We don't preach we don't preach anything regarding altcoin summer anytime soon at all. So I keep telling you guys your best play, your best bet for these markets currently is definitely in Bitcoin. So, I can't tell you what to do, not financial advice, but this is what's been proven in 2019 so far. All right, so let's go into the charts. Looking at Bitcoin, pretty nice move today. Actually closing this daily candle here at 10,080 and 53 cents. And we did get a little bit of continuation here starting the day, just a tiny bit, but then we have retraced a little bit since the closure of that candle. And we do see here that the daily is coming back to retest the 55. I do want to see a hold there. And then if we can close this daily candle tomorrow at 5 p.m. Afternoon Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., then if we close above the 55, I do think we do get continuation of the run of this run. We might even get that tomorrow before or prior to the close of the candle, the daily candle, again tomorrow evening. And if we do see that, then obviously you'll know that it is continuation, and we have regained a more bullish posture. I mean, we're definitely trading in a bullish posture here, in a bullish formation here. As I've been telling you guys, this is sort of a bull flag here forming, a massive bull flag. This is the staff, and then you've got the consolidation here on a more of a downward momentum, more of a downward consolidation. But then ultimately, I do think we can still come back and retest this at the bottom of the area, which again would come back to about $8,500 levels, and then come back and retest the top of this formation, and then ultimately break out of this bull flag, and we do have a sort of a pre-drawn result of such move, if in case this turns out to be true, right? This right here would be the more bullish scenario of it, which I know a lot of us are definitely counting on, and definitely almost counting our sheep, right? Per se. So that being the more bullish case, and going back to what we talked about yesterday and videos before these, we did break out above this channel here, which we had been trading. I did see a move, and I told you guys last night that I was leaning I was leaning more on the bullish case, that we could come back and retest the top of this channel here, which we have been trading for the last few days, little bit over a week, and retest this area. And then if we close some 4-hour or higher candles above this area, then we started to get a little bit more bullish. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't anticipate. Although this is the crypto markets, so these sort of moves, unexpected moves, and it's all also it's all relative, right? Unexpected to some, expected to the other half, right? I was particularly not expecting it to happen right away, like we did see it this morning, really early in the morning. We saw Bitcoin make this move here, this pretty good move. Let's put actually a measurement to kind of give us the number there, about 5.81, 5.85% move on the day in just a couple of hours. And then from there, we've just been consolidating around 9,900 to 10,000. Again, that move came a little bit quicker than I thought. I was anticipating a little bit more sideways trading within this channel before we did break out, although I was leaning 60-40, leaning on the bullish side. I did give the edge to the bulls, and it did actually turned out, and it panned out. So glad to see that. Again, I am looking for continuation of this. If we can close this next candle here, this daily candle above the 55 there, if we go back and again finish a day, the higher this candle goes, and if it ends up turning green, then so be it. I mean, that's just going to let us know that the bulls are going to let us know that this is a serious attempt to come back and retest this prior high over here, or this higher area of this formation here, right? And then we'll forget about the whole $8,500 range for a while, because I mean we'd be retesting this top area of resistance here on this bull flag. And again, 1, 2 would be the third try. We usually will see either a massive rejection off of that area, because again, this would be the third try against this resistance here, this downward resistance line here in red. And if we don't pierce through that with some conviction, and start closing some daily candles above this area here, I'm going to be a little bit more stringent, a little bit more. I'm going to be a little more asking of Bitcoin's price action once we get to this point, and I do want to see a daily close above this red line, so we can definitely start getting ultra bullish and looking for this prior high here at around 14,000, and then ultimately come back and set new higher highs. If this trend continues and we do come back and retest and pierce through that, then I do think we are going to see the retest of the prior high of 2017 at around 20,000, right? So I mean this, and I pay close attention to this. Be very aware of what I'm trying to say here. Again, if this formation does work out and we do retest to 14,000 and we go back to maybe 15,000, then we are definitely in to test the prior high of 2017 at 20,000. This becomes an absolute, almost almost an absolute sure thing towards the end of 2019. So, very, very powerful stuff that we're seeing. Again, that's just what the charts are telling us at this very moment, this current moment. But again, this is the crypto market, so beware. We could, we could turn back at any moment. We've seen worse things in this market. Definitely with regulators playing around with regulation. I know it's kind of redundant, but they can definitely have some influence on the price action, as we did see in recent times. We did see the Senate hearing, Senate banking committee hearing just yesterday, and the outcome, overall wasn't ultra bullish or anything, but it was more on the positive side than on the negative. With regulators definitely realizing that this technology, has to they have to let it flourish. They have to tread lightly when it comes to regulating or really choking out this industry with regulation. And again, some of the members in the committee did realize that this technology, when it comes specifically to Bitcoin, is almost unstoppable. So trying to put a sort of a headlock on it would not be the right thing to do, and would hardly have any hardly have the impact that they're looking for when it comes to regulating this industry. All right, so sorry about the rambling there, but again, this is a very, very bullish scenario here that we're talking about. And if we actually go to the monthly, I was telling you guys how this here is just we're actually going to have to go to the chart over at Bitstamp, because it does have a longer history, and we can see it here on the RSI and the moving averages. I mean, currently just a very on the monthly, very, very bullish posture here, where we are, gosh darn it, we are, wow, just wow. Sorry guys, we have such a big gap, is what I'm trying to say, between the 21 and the bottom of this candle. We did close this past we did close this candle here earlier today, monthly candle, uh, quite nicely. I mean, we were down in the high, mid to high 9,000s, and then we had that nice bounce back this morning to help us close the monthly candle at around $10,085, which again, just we did we maintained that separation more than the expected. We were kind of thinking that we were going to close somewhere in the higher 9,000s, but we actually closed above 10,000. Right? Really, this is very, very, very important, very significant. We closed the candle above 10,000, the monthly candle above 10,000. This again is another indicator to me that Bitcoin is just gathering more energy, gathering more momentum to the upside. Again, we have a huge gap in between the 21 and just just to throw it out there, even if we come back and retest the 21 at around $6,700, I'm still you still shouldn't get bearish on it. I mean, this would be a huge retracement. Let's actually look at it from this point to the 21. We'd be talking about 32% retracement. That is not that's not something that would be completely out of the question. If we did see a retracement like this would still be very much correct. Gosh, tonight is rough night. Correct. Oh, this would be very typical. let's just say that would be a typical move on Bitcoin's behalf if we do retrace about 35%. We've seen the 21 kind of carry the price action going back to, let's take a look, going back to around November of 2015. And then look at that also, coming in convergence with the RSI, right? Ever since we bounced above the 21 EMA here on the RSI, this red line coming across here, ever since we got on top of it back in November of 2015, we remained bullish. We remained in that bullish market and momentum, coming back and retesting it here. But just having a nice bounce and staying in the bullish control zone, and not really looking back until 2018, until January of 2018, when we crossed back to the downside. And look at this, the monthly, because we did close on a red candle on the monthly, the RSI did take more to the downside, although it's not a reversal yet. I mean, it looks like it wants to cross to the downside. But there's two things to note here. One is it hasn't actually, the cross has not been confirmed, right? So there's no confirmation yet. It looks like it wants to come back and retest the 21 right there. And number two, if it does come back and retest the 21 exponential on this RSI, we could still get a bounce and come back and into the more bullish territory, the bull control zone. And and we can remain there for quite a bit of time, as you see back here from 2015 on to 2018, a 3-year bear market, or a 3-year bull market, and it looks like we're setting up again for another bull market here. Because again, look at it. Once we got on top of it and crossed to the upside here, we didn't look back for 3 years, right? And then we had, since 2019 all the way to here's across June, about a year and a half worth of this past bear market lasted about a year and a half, is what I'm trying to say. And then we got the cross to the upside above the 21 in June this year, just last month. And so if once we're here, once we cross it, we tend to stay above it, right? Which would indicate that, this can only go higher from here, right? If we do break it, again, I wouldn't start to get bearish on this until if we break 6,700. If we break this area to the downside, we should have support, strong support here at 6,350. But then if we do break these two, then this would start to look very pretty much bearish in my case, in my eyes. Although we would find support here at the $4,500 level, and I would anticipate a big bounce off of this area. This might be a touch and go. This is the ultra bearish case, right? This is not something that I'm thinking is definitely something that's going to happen. Definitely something that's in the cards right now. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I think is going to happen not anytime soon, is what I'm trying to say. I do think we are definitely getting ready, and we are definitely building some momentum to keep this rally going to the upside, especially if we look again at the daily. We look at the daily, and let's bring back our drawing tools. What the heck happened? Oh, never mind. Here we go. Right, so looking at this again, if this is the ultra bullish case scenario here, right? So this is to me, this is as of right now, because again, this is what the chart is telling us. As of right now, we have to reevaluate pretty much after we hit every target. We have hit the target move at, I was telling you guys a couple of videos ago, I was telling you that this would be the next target around 10,100. We're currently at right below 10,000, but we did hit it. We did hit the 21 at around 1,150. That's where we were, that's where we were looking for as far as, the next target move. We are having a retracement. We are having a rejection of the 21, which is perfectly natural. And we are trading in between the 55 and the 21. We could see a little bit of consolidation here before Bitcoin moving upwards again. And if we do start to gain more momentum to the outside, I do want to see Bitcoin close to 4 hours above the 21 before we started to look at it. And I do think if we do get above it, we're definitely going to come back and test this area at 10,350 right here. This red line I'm pointing at, 10,350. This will be our next target. But again, I do anticipate some consolidating in between the 55 and the 21 for the next couple of days or so, and then heading into the weekend, we should start to see a move coming back up here. If we do come back and retest the 55, again, totally normal, and in fact, it looks like we're just doing that right now. Let's zoom in a bit here so we can get a little bit more of a better view. Yep, it is currently having a retest of the 55, but it looks like it is respecting it as of right now and having just remaining above the 55, which is good. Even if we retest the 30 here, I'm still not worried. And then again, ultimately we can come back and retest the 9,300. As long as we don't break 93, 93.50, we're okay, right? If we close any, let's say like a 2 hour, 3 hour, maybe a 4 hour below the 93, then I do think overall we're going to come back and retest some of these prior lows. The 89 exponential coming in here at 9100, 9150, 9180. Then this prior area of support here at 8900. The simple 200 is coming in right here. And in fact, let's bring out our fib extension tool just to see where we are lining up and where we are converging in areas of support. Let's look at this right here. There we go. This swing low right here. Look at that, just lining up perfectly here with this last area of support here. Not last area, but the 8,900 to 9,000 flat, lining up with the 236 here. The yellow 21 almost lining up perfectly with the 382, and then this area here, looks like we could potentially build a channel around the 0.5. So these are all tools that you guys can use to kind of put a measurement and kind of have an expectation as far as what the price action of what Bitcoin is going to do, where it might head, where it might hit, and where your buying zones are, depending on where you're comfortable buying back in. If you do see a retest of the 382 and you think that's a good place to buy in, I wouldn't disagree with you. And then you can scale your way back in. That's how I would recommend you guys do it. Come back down and retest the 30. It's not a bad idea to scale your way in. Maybe put 10-15% back into your position, and then once we retest this prior area here at around 94, 90, 93, 90. This is actually 9,400. Once we hit 9,400, you might put a little bit more in. Once we hit the 89 down here, or hit the 9,000 down here, these are all good areas for you to come back and start scaling back into your positions, right? So just keep that in mind as the more bearish case scenario, if it does play out, right? And ultimately, but again, going back to the monthly, I don't think we're going to see something as drastic as that. In fact, let's put away some of these drawings and switch over to Bitstamp. Yeah, I don't see that in the cards as of anytime soon, right? We do have, again, a lot of support down in these areas, and the low 9,000s to high 8,000s. A lot of support. Again, if we were to break this area here at around 8,400, then then this becomes the likely scenario, 6,700. But again, Bitcoin has a lot of work to do before we actually reach back down and retest the 21, right? So Can't say that enough. Can't stress that enough. Not looking for that to be the next move anytime soon at all. All right, let's go back to the 4 hour. Take a look at the lower time frame, see how we're looking. And actually, let's switch to our Binance chart. And again, just having consolidation. We do have a little bit of convergence here with some of our moving averages. We have the 10 simple, we have the 89 and the 200 simple coming in convergence right in the same area right here. Acting, we are currently on top of most of these, or right in between these, and they are acting as support. If we do come back down to the 55 at around, say, 9,800. The low 9,800 range, we'll call it 9,825. If we come back and retest that area, that would be, that would still be very, very healthy, very normal pullback. And, because in these type of moves, I don't anticipate any big dips. The biggest dip that I do anticipate would be this 100 simple down here at around 9,600. This would be, again, the biggest of moves that I would anticipate in this sort of price action. So if you might want to set some buy orders somewhere in between the 55 and the 21 in here. These two seem like really good targets at about 98.25, 98.35, and then again down here at 97.75, right where the 21 is coming in at. Those would be two good areas for me. And in fact, I am going after this video, I am going to set a couple of buy orders around those levels. Maybe one here, maybe another one right here, maybe another one right here. And worst case scenario, right around this area here, 92.50. I don't anticipate any bigger moves than that. I mean, I don't anticipate really anything below the 100 simple here. This brown, orangey looking EMA here, moving average here. Right, that's a simple moving average. Right around again 96.25. Don't anticipate anything bigger than that, and if it does, I do think we're going to get a bounce from there. Again, just based on what we're seeing on the charts, the 4 hour RSI looks like it's is being controlled by the bulls right now. It did have a cross to the downside, but it is being respected here, the top area of the bullish control zone. So I do want to see again a more of a prompt move to the upside, cross over the red exponential on the RSI here, and continue this move to again some of these prior targets. Let's put our drawings so we can see the next target areas. Next target area, immediate target area would be 10,200. That's where the 200 is coming in at, and this again would be another bullish indicator. If we can get above the 200 and start closing some 4 hour candles there, never mind a daily, then we start to get really excited about the price action, because if we go back on the 200, this has been sort of our cradle for price action, going back to, zoom in a little bit better here. I mean, Jesus, guys, going back to February 8th, first week of February, once we crossed the 200 to the upside, I mean, it had been acting as resistance for a very long time, right, guys? I mean, look at how far back we have to go. I mean, just back here, right? I mean, we can go further and further back, but just so you know, I mean, this is a huge area or huge reference for price action when it comes to whether we're bullish or whether we are bearish on Bitcoin's price. This 200 EMA has really governed the price action on Bitcoin, and we have pretty much stayed above it ever since the first week of February. And we have touched it and bounced up above it many times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after the fifth bounce from the 200 is when we really got very bullish and started getting plenty of momentum, plenty of separation from the 200 until, you know, most recently we came back and retested it once, two, three times back here as late as June the 4th. And then the third time we tested it was June 9th. And then, you know, again, got really great separation off of it. I forgot where I had drawn this line. I think it was right here, right around 9,000. So, and touching it again here and just having a massive reaction from that 200. So this, again, if we can get on top of the 200, this would be, again, a reasons to get really excited, because, again, at that point, we would be on top, again, of every moving average in this formation. There would be, you know, these areas are still going to act as resistance on the way up. But again, there's no more moving averages on top of it. So this would become an ultra bullish formation, in my opinion, right? From there, we would retest at 10,350. Have to retest around 10,600. Again, if we break this area, then it's very likely that we are going to retest somewhere in here at around 11.4, 11.5. Okay. All right, but we certainly have a lot of work to do. So don't expect this to happen. Again, as we go up, as we hit these targets, we have to pivot. We have to rethink. We have to reassess. Look at the chart. At some point, we're going to have to retest some of these lower price ranges. And again, keep in mind that once we break through them convincingly up to the upside, these areas that were once acting as resistance will act as support on the way back down. So we're going to have, you know, the higher we go up, we're going to have these many areas to break through in support. If we really want to get, you know, down into the lower levels, we're going to have to get really bearish in order for us to actually break through those areas of support. So Bitcoin is working and grinding its way to the top here, and it would have to do the same on the way down, right? Break through all of these areas of support. But again, you know, if we do come back and retest the 200, get above it, and come back and retest at 10,350, we could come back and retest the 200 and just bounce in between these two lines here, the 200 and this previous line of resistance. Maybe some consolidation, maybe come back and retest this prior area of support at 10,000 flat before we, you know, can escape and retest some higher areas. All right. Okay, let's take a look at 3 hour. See how it is looking. Same kind of deal as the 4 hour. I mean, it's pretty similar. We are on top of the most recently the 200 simple here, and we've got the 200 EMA coming right above it. We're trading right in between it. Looks pretty darn bullish. If we break above it, look at that. We have the 10 simple here acting as resistance along with the 10,600 area. Again, these would be major areas of resistance. RSI is looking pretty bullish. It is in control. Bulls do have control right now. It did cross over to the downside, but again, we could see it bounce from the bottom of the bullish territory, bull control zone, and then have continuation. Again, that's why I don't get too bearish on this yet. Even if we come back and retest the 21 right here in the middle of this the RSI channel, I'm still not getting bearish yet. You know, that would mean that we're retesting the simple 100 here, or the 55 along with the 21 around here. So again, these would not be bad things. You know, I don't get bearish yet. If we break if we do break the 100 simple here and retest the $9,400 area, that's still within the play. That's still within the scope of things. If we break this area, then we start to you know, reassess. Okay, that's what we're looking at. I'm not going to get too granular on this. I'm not going to look at the lower time frames. If you want me to, on the next video, I can try that. let's just take a quick look at some of the alts. I'd want to keep this a little on the shorter side. The last videos have actually been pretty lengthy, so I do want to keep it on more on the shorter side. Ethereum is grinding its way back up. It wasn't looking too hot last night, you know, right around here on the 3 hour. You know, it was below most of these major moving averages. And actually, you know, did try to jump above, but it failed. It was rejected, and we're actually going to look at different candles because one of these is going to tell us where it actually rejected. Nope, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Let's look at the hourly. Hourly is not telling us much. Let's go in the daily. Okay, so the daily looks like a rejection of the 200 EMA on the daily. That's kind of what that's what's happening there. All right, so and let's actually zoom out here to see, you know, what the 200 has been like for Ethereum. Yeah, I mean it has governed. It has really acted as, you know, as sort of a price governor as well. But, you know, a lot of separation between the 200, and this is to be expected, right? Because this is an altcoin, and you know, altcoins do get hit harder. Bitcoin didn't have quite as big a gap in price action between the 200 and, you know, the highs on the chart. But again, being that it is an altcoin, you know, I do see this as something that makes sense for the price action on Ethereum. And currently, I mean, we only broke above it back in May 11th. So, you know, not as significant as with Bitcoin. So I'm not going to put too much weight on this, but it would still be a positive thing on the daily. Don't get me wrong. If we can get a close above the 200 on the daily, then, you know, that will be a really good thing for Ethereum. We're looking at you know, $2.20 start closing if we do get a but you know, again, I'm going to be a little more stringent, a little more asking of Ethereum. I do want to see it close at a daily above the 200 before we start to get, you know, more on the bullish side, because it does have a lot of resistance to work through and grind through on the daily with these major and simple moving averages here on the way up. So and we did trace these are areas of resistance here with Ethereum. So again, it's going to have a lot of work to do on the way up, with Bitcoin rallying roughly about 5% today. You know, we've retraced a little bit, but look at Ethereum. I mean, only a you know, 1% gain on the day on the 24th. So you know, nothing to be too excited about. Although again, it has grind its way up above the 10 simple here and the 30 simple. Here currently testing the 200, right? So again, that's where we're at. We want to see it close some candles above the 200 on the daily. All right, let's go back and check out Litecoin. Litecoin did follow pretty good on Bitcoin's move. And actually, I mean, almost an identical move. And Litecoin actually is looking a little bit more bullish than you know, I would say on par with Bitcoin, staying above the 200 here. Same as with, and again, you know, same exact type of scenario, right? This is an altcoin, pretty good gap, pretty good separation between price action and the 200, and then we regained it back here, back in somewhere actually early March, so way earlier than with Ethereum, and I'll say this too. This shows that Litecoin has actually been pretty strong, right? I mean, not on the daily, not going back and getting underneath all of the moving averages, actually staying above the 200 for the most part. I mean, we did see it dip down below it, but then regained it almost immediately, almost on the, you know, from one day to the next. Actually, yeah, from one day to the next. We did see it regain it, and has not let go of it. Although we did get a little bit of a wick here with that flash crash on Bitcoin. Nothing to worry about there. We did close the candle above it, and we have been closing daily candles above the 200 for for the last week or so. So currently retesting. We did close and opened this red daily candle above the 21. So this is good. This is good for Litecoin. It's looking pretty darn good. If we can maintain above the 21 here on the daily, then I do start to see as 104 being 104, 105 being the next target for Litecoin. 104, 105. So mark that on your calendar. That's our next target for Litecoin. And then from there, we could see a retracement back to the 21, perhaps the 30 or the 200. These bounces or these retracements are still very, very, very much to be expected. Very healthy for the overall formation. And before we actually break out and start, heading for prior highs around 143, we would have a lot of work to do. This right here would be sort of a good area for resistance. And in fact, let's put another line right around here, 115, 116, right? So again, we'd have to get above the 55, close the daily candle there, and then come back and retest 115, right? Prior to even talking about or really thinking about going to 143, 144 price range. All right, that's what I got for Litecoin. Actually, let's look at the 4 hour real quick before we move on. Yeah, rejection of the 200 here on the 4 hour, but pretty good formation here. I mean, a nice retracement. Looks like it wants to retest the 30 and the 89 right there, right where my cursor is at 94 and a half. So that would not be a bad move. In fact, I wouldn't say it would be too crazy to actually pick some more Litecoin up at around 94, yeah, between 94 and a half and 95 dollars would be a good point for you to scale back in before we continue on this run. That's kind of what it's looking like. Currently, the RSI in the 4 hour is retesting the bottom of the bullish control zone, and if we do come back and retest the 21, we're still pretty good. We're still good. Not too worried. If we do break the 21 here with the RSI looking downward, then I start to shift my mindset on the price action on Litecoin. We could get a bounce off the 21 exponential here and come back and retest it. So again, that's why these areas of support are there. The 21 on the RSI here, and this looks like the 100 simple here. This would be a good area for a bounce back as well. So again, if as long as we don't break this area, or even another area of support down here would be coming in right around here at 87 cents. Let's actually switch it over to green so it does represent support. So again, once we break this area, which has served as plenty of support in the past, once we break 87.50, then I start to again change my mindset on the price action with Litecoin. All right, so I'll keep it here. I'll leave it here as far as the TA goes. Let's move on to the story of the day. If you haven't signed up to get your notifications for this channel and these updates, definitely hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit the like button. This will help the video propagate around the YouTubes and get out to more people out there that are interested in TA and some of the news. So try to keep things balanced for you guys, give you guys some TA and also a little bit of news. Just kind of recapping the day on cryptocurrency markets. So yeah, the Chairman Powell, the boss over at the Federal Reserve, getting heavily criticized. And in fact, we're gonna have to go back real quick and take another look at the charts. We do want to look at the S&P and just kind of see it on paper, what the type of reaction that the news of the Fed cutting the rate by 25 basis points had on not only the Dow Jones but also the S&P and most markets, right? And a lot of stocks, individual stocks, got hit, some harder than others, but really the overall reaction was negative to the news that um, Fed Chairman Powell cutting rates by only 20.25 basis point. And I say this because that seems to be the overall sentiment in traditional markets. That they and Trump had a lot to do with this too. The president of the United States going out and tweeting his disappointment on Chairman Powell only cutting the rate by 0.25 basis points. Mr. Trump was expecting a bigger cut than what they turned out with. Um, and, so two things: the news, the fact being that they only cut 25 basis points, and then Mr. Trump coming out and expressing his disappointment. Those two things in my mind are the catalyst for what we saw today here in price action with the S&P, the Dow Jones, and again, a lot of individual stocks getting hit hard. It looks like the Dow Jones closed on a negative 1.2 a quarter, we'll round up, and then the S&P closing 1.09. I mean, we did see a significant dip earlier in the day. In fact, that's why I want to bring out the chart again. Let's look at the SPY, having a pretty sizable retracement, pretty sizable dip here. Let's actually put a measurement on it. Right there, about 1.87. But that's measuring the entire move, right, from including the wick, 1.87, and actually closing out at 1.09 on the day, right? We see it here. Lost 32 points, which translates to 1.09% to the downside. And but having a nice reaction off of the 89 here, a lot of institutional players coming in and buying the dip here, right? Which is very typical for traditional markets. These sort of things you bet are going to get really a good reaction once it comes back and resets from these prior areas of support here. So you did see a lot of buyers coming in and swooped the price up on the S&P, and it had a pretty favorable close in my eyes in the overall range of things. All right, so um, yeah, so the news breaking out did have an impact. We also see let's see the type of impact that it had on gold. I don't think it had the same type of impact on gold. Okay, back to gold. Okay, yeah, it actually did. I mean, gold also getting some of that, getting getting a reaction from gold holders, about 1.72 on the day, um, losing about what is it, $2.33 from the prior high over here at 135. But I do think gold is going to bounce from these ranges. We'll see where it opens up tomorrow, but I do think a lot of buyers are going to come in and buy this price here at 133. So I do expect to bounce here. Same with the S&P, same with the Nasdaq, same with the Dow Jones. I do think these dips are going to get bought up, right? And because again, this was sort of a this was on some short-term news events. I mean, this is really something significant, but not too significant, right? Um, we all thought that having the Fed cut the rate, whether it was 25.25 basis points or zero point 0.5 basis points, whatever the case might have been, we all thought that it would have had a positive reaction on the traditional markets, but it actually had an adverse reaction to the news, but mainly again coming back because Mr. Trump came back and kind of rained on everybody's parade. But what we care here in this channel is that it actually had a positive effect on Bitcoin's price. We do see this move here, today earlier at the opening, pretty much opening of the day for us here in the West Coast, but I know it's much later in the East Coast. But we did have a positive reaction to the Fed rate cut with the crypto market, not so much on the traditional market. And and pretty much the pressure is mounting on the Fed boss, Mr. Powell. A lot of, he's getting a lot of criticism from not only Mr. Trump but the media and a lot of the mainstream media outlets really pointing the finger at Mr. Powell, pretty much letting them know that on this article, pretty much pointing out the fact that anytime that he goes out to have a press conference, the S&P and traditional markets overall have a negative reaction to his meetings and his media conferences. So they're getting tired of seeing him. They're getting tired of having him come out and the markets react in a negative stance. So we'll leave it at that. That's the news. I'll leave the article here on the description of the video if you want to take a look at it for yourself and read it. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the like button. Again, it helps propagate this video and this channel out to more people that are interested in these sort of things, crypto markets, and a little bit. I'll leave you guys with this. I am going to try to and include a little bit more analysis on traditional markets as well. I did get a few people that I've networked with and a few people out there letting me know that it would be a good thing to have a little bit more balance outside of the crypto markets. So I am going to try to do that, incorporate more of the traditional markets into these videos. All right, but leave any comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to read your comments and interact with you guys. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you got something of value in exchange for your time, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great night.